Now I want to start diving deeper into this report and looking at who the major players are and who is being targeted and why. So just in case you didn't see my first video, the government has actually hired a group of feminists to dive deeper into the red pillars and who may be incite or supposedly or could be inciting hatred and misogyny online. It's festering. And it's also contributing probably to why these means are failing and flailing. To rank these supposedly problematic content creators, they use something called the Male Supremacy Scale. This is a 15-item scale to measure male supremacy broken into 3 subscales: anti-feminism, female dishonesty in relationships, and women like alphas. Do these content creators hit those 3 points? The application of the male supremacy scale. The manifestation of male supremacy online combines principles derived from a broad network of male supremacist websites, blogs, forums, and communities commonly referred to as the manosphere. Currently, online platforms face a binary choice when dealing with content that offers potential pathways to online radicalization: either shut down the offending account or ignore it. Diverting Hate offers a third option: to encourage lasting changes through platform infrastructures by instead exposing at-risk users to alternative positive content. In order to test this methodology, we worked alongside DashGuard and the Peril team to implement the male supremacy scale and test the efficacy of diversion campaigns against an amalgam of actors within the manosphere across the male supremacy scale's spectrum. Now, the red pillars and their allies are freaking out, but they are not acknowledging that social media has weaponized misogyny against women, and these dudes are literally failing and flailing. But now I want to start talking about who is actually being targeted. Now, here's the list of the creators that are being targeted: Sandman, The Real MTR, Legion of Men, The Rational Male, who is Rollo Tomassi, Fresh and Fit Clips. And it's clips because Fresh and Fit were demonetized well before this. Rich Cooper channels, Just Pearly Things, Steph is Cold, Aaron Clary, Araco TV, and 21 Studios. And the first column is their male supremacy scaled metric. So this is their ranking. This is, I guess, the top creators that hit the points on the male supremacy scale. The top creators ranked high in these, they speak about this type of content. Anti-feminism. Number 1, feminism is about hating men. Modern society prioritizes women over men. Feminists are unattractive. Women use feminism to gain an unfair advantage over men. Feminists are seeking to control men. They think women are dishonest, and they think women like alphas. I've already, in the first video I did, talked about these things. Now I want to talk about some of the players. The first one being the rational male. He was actually ranked 4th. The reason why I'm doing the rational male, or Rollo Tomassi, first is because he is considered the godfather of the red pills. So I'm doing him first because maybe because of him, all of these other people were able to be born or, spread their wings and spread their red pill rhetoric. Okay, so this is what is in the report. The rational male, on the male supremacy scale, he got an 89. Rollo Tomassi, known as the rational male, is a white man in his 50s who resides in Nevada with his wife. His content primarily features him seated and discussing various topics related to the manosphere. A prominent advocate of the red pill ideology, Tomassi distinguishes himself by opposing tradcon influencers and extensively delving into the concept of hypergamy. Tomassi's videos are often critique and scrutinize figures within the same community. Notable instances include criticisms of individuals like Jordan Peterson and Matt Walsh. Apart from his online presence, Tomassi has authored several books on intersexual relationships, solidifying his influence in the realm of the manosphere. His first blog began in 2011, and he released his first book in 2013. His content, which heavily emphasizes red pill ideology and hypergamy, has garnered significant popularity. Despite his high standing in these aspects, his channel score is tempered by a lower ranking in female dishonesty due to a perceived lack of discussion on this particular subject. In terms of subscribers, Rollo Tomassi experienced modest growth on his channel in November 2023, and he had 218,000 subscribers, and by March his number had increased to 221K. This consistent following suggests sustained interest in his expertise on the red pill philosophy and intersexual dynamics within the manosphere.
Else out here, because we were just talking about like genuine desire and just this, you know, this feral lust and for monkey sex kind of thing, right? And I think what needs to be really made a distinction here is that when you're looking at who is pairing off with who and who is marrying who, whether it's socioeconomic status or who's good looking and who's not good looking and all this other stuff, it would be in a perfect world, you know, ones would get with ones and twos would get with twos and threes would get with threes. And that's simply not the fucking way that we see it, especially not after the advent of hormonal birth control and the sexual revolution. And I'm sure in the 20th century, this probably played out very well when women were dependent on men. Why? Because men who didn't have the ability to generate that genuine desire, they could make up for it and compensate for it with value added. So if they had a really great job, or they came from a really good family, or they were well educated, those kinds of things,
because you needed
you had that. Now it's a different game. And so with the, like I said, with the advent of hormonal birth control, and women can pick and choose longer. That's why women, the average age of first marriage is 30 years old. That's why we see what's really true, which is the hypergamy side of everything here. And so just to put a period on the end of this, the thing that I'm seeing right now is people keep saying, well, it's all about a sort of mating and everything else.
Yeah.
Okay, that's who people line up with. Maybe a five gets with a five and they marry each other, and that seems like the most logical situation. It's not about who's pairing with who, it's who wants to fuck who.
Yes, okay, so you're bringing my point
who
up.
has the desire to get with it, because I will tell you right now, when Aquaman came out, your grandmother didn't go see that fucking movie because she's a big fan of the DC comic book character Aquaman. She went to go see it because Jason fucking Momoa was in that goddamn.
When he caught wind that he was being targeted back in April, this is what he said on. So a content creator named BX is the one that started tagging these creators that they were being targeted in this report. And when Rollo Tomassi caught wind, he retweeted her tweet saying it takes a $700,000 DHS grant for Justin Baldoni to ride my peen for engagement. Now, Justin Baldini, I think, is one of the actors or the male figures that they are diverting Rollo Tomassi and other red pill content creators to this man and other content creators' posts that they believe are positive male influences. So this is how they are diverting hate. They are taking the eyeballs from the manosphere and red pillar and diverting it to these types of creators. Men Alive, the Mankind Project, Visible Man. So, and I guess Jason Baldoni is one of those actors. Rollo Tomassi says your tax dollars are used to actively suppress the red pill. And I can see why a content creator like Rollo Tomassi would get upset with this type of man. This man, Justin, wrote a book says boys will be boys, but he crossed out boys and put human. So he's wanting to teach boys how to be human instead of buying into the rhetoric that boys will be boys. So obviously that is getting under the skin of the red pill people.
That we need hope, and I believe that we need, and we have a responsibility, those of us that are here, to create content that moves the needle and actually ignites the spark in all of our souls to go and do something. Otherwise, what are we doing? We're just making candy or toys. I believe that we need
a little bit more about Rollo Tomassi, sometimes called the godfather of the red pill. He has been a permanent fixture in the manosphere for 20 years with a focus on evolutionary psychology and objectivism. Rollo brings a pragmatic, nuts and bolts approach to intersexual dynamics, men and women's innate natures, and their effects on today's society. And he has a whole book series. And like I said before, he started publishing back in 2013. So, like I said before, Rollo Tomassi hit number 4 on this list. On his YouTube page, he seemed a little irritated that he wasn't higher up the scale, but he was excited about who he did beat out on the other list, which is funny. You know that these red pillars are scared though, because look at this post. Until feminists are designated as terrorists by the DHS and half a dozen watchdog NGOs are paid millions of tax dollars to deprive them of their First Amendment rights, the Laura Chan can F off with her red pill or feminist conflations. The part that is interesting about this, Rollo Tomassi has been in this game, as he said, for the better part of 2 decades. And he was not able to like make a movement like these feminists have been able to do. I'm not calling Lauren Chan a feminist, but I'm talking about the feminists that are actually targeting them. So where is the red pillars? Where's their power? Do they have any? Obviously, not any real power outside of um, making these men fail and flail even harder. And that's the reason why they're being. And some of the reaction under his post, LeJew says it's almost like promoting an incel DV cult is actually a bad thing in a time of failing marriages. James is like, good, it's a plague on society. Deplorable Alpaca under his tweet said, what I find most interesting is not what they are suppressing, but what they are supporting. Mankind Project. Sean St. George, if we were wrong, then they wouldn't have needed to suppress us. So there is a mixed bag underneath this. Some people are like empathetic to the plight of the red pillars being targeted. Other people are like, dude, what did you expect? I do want to know where you land with these things. Definitely stay tuned. I will be talking about more of the men, or actually men and women on this list. So stay tuned.